Hello there, ladies. I just wanted to talk to you all about recognizing sexual harassment early on. Now, a lot of times women do not realize that they are being harassed, until further on down the line, until, maybe it's a little bit too late. Um, I'm not talking about ultimately too late, to where there's nothing you can do about it, but I mean, you're kind of too deep into the situation, is what I mean. So, anytime you notice a guy is very pushy, he does not take no for an answer, he keeps, nagging, harassing, pestering you, he becomes a pest. Basically, that is a form of harassment, and that should not be tolerated. Um, you know, in our society, oftentimes women are, conditioned to accept that type of behavior. It's just a normal, it's become normalized to where it's like, a lot of men are taught to, if a woman says no, just keep asking her, just keep pursuing her. And, that cultivates a mindset of, of ignoring a woman's, no, disregarding, you know, if a woman dislikes you, you're just disregarding her feelings there, and you're thinking that you can overturn her, um, you know, her no into a yes if you just keep, if you're persistent and you just keep pursuing her, you think that you can turn her, her no into a yes, and that is really crossing a boundary. Like you don't have a right to try to overthrow somebody's will. Um, to everybody has free will, the choice to reject or accept, and you don't have a right to bombard and force someone to say yes, reluctantly. You don't have that right. So I just want ladies to recognize that if a man doesn't take no for an answer, he's very pushy and aggressive. You've told him no already several times. It's already gone on too long. You need to cut contact with that individual, because no means no. It does not mean keep asking me or ask me again tomorrow and wear me down and I might change my mind in the future. No means no. Period. Okay? Ladies, I want you guys to get that. I found myself in this type of situation, and this is how I'm able to recognize it, but in hindsight I realized that this was what it was. So this guy, was pursuing me, and initially I told him, this was a coworker, by the way, and I told him, like, I do not date coworkers. That is not what I'm interested in. Mostly because once you date a coworker, your whole everybody knows your business, and I was not really about that life. So yeah, this guy came along, and I told him I do not date coworkers. He kept, you know, finally, like, I guess, I gave him my number because, I have a lot of coworkers' numbers, but he used that. He kind of, that was my first mistake there, giving him my number at all. But now knowing the type of personality he has, he would have tried to get it from someone else. He would have tried to get my number from someone else anyway. But yeah, I gave him a fake number, by the way, because I don't know, something in me caught on to his shenanigans. But yeah, he tried to turn my no into a yes. I kept saying I do not date coworkers. I've said this several times, and he kept harassing me, trying to turn conversations sexual, and I was not even attracted to this guy, but he was just so persistent and very aggressive. And so, without going too deep into that story on this video, but I will get into that story, um, I just want you guys to know that recognize the signs early on. If a man is pushy, persistent, aggressive, just be careful, ladies, because eventually a man like this, if he keeps having access to you, he's gonna try to wear you down and get what he wants. And if what he wants does not line up with what you want, you need to get yourself out of there, because the behavior is not gonna stop. And if this is in a school setting or a workplace environment where you cannot escape this guy and you kind of have to interact with him, then you need to get authorities involved, the respective authorities. If it's at work, then you need to contact HR and detail every the instances of the occurrences, the dates and times. Keep a logbook, a journal, so that you will have evidence to present to HR, because they are going to they're going to ask for evidence. That's the bottom line. It's not really down to you. You can say, of course, how he made you feel, but that's not gonna convict anybody just based off of feelings. And I would always confront the person. That's just me. That's not always easy to do. So I would always confront the person first to make sure that they're aware that their behavior is making you uncomfortable. But that's not always easy to do, and that's not always wise to do, depending on the person and the situation. But me, personally, I don't really, I don't really cower in those situations, or it's not cowardice though. Some men can be, and people can be very intimidating, but let's just say men can't, they can try, but they don't really intimidate me. But anyway, so basically, if it's a situation at work or school where you really can't avoid the person, work, you would have to go to HR, and with school you would have to tell a teacher, the principal, somebody who can do something about it, somebody who can help you in your situation, and maybe that the harasser will get their schedule changed, or something to that effect, or maybe they might get disciplined, so that they know that their behavior is wrong and it is inappropriate. So don't want to make this video too long. I just want you all to know that anytime a man is pushy, he doesn't take no for an answer, he's nagging and harassing, that's harassment. Okay? And ladies, I just want you to recognize it, because a harasser will stop at nothing until they get what they want. Please believe that. They're not just gonna fade off one day and just be like, do mind their own business, and all of a sudden become respectful, and respecting people's boundaries. That's not how they operate. So yes, I just want you all to be aware that a man who does not take no for an answer, a pushy man, a man who's nagging and harassing you to be in a relationship with him, or be with him, or be physically, sexually with him, that is harassment. Point blank, period. There is no way around it. That's harassment, and you do not need to put up with it. You do not need to cave. And I've seen stories on YouTube where there were age gap relationships, for example, and there was a young lady, maybe in her 20s at the time, and this man was way up in age. He was like a senior citizen practically, and she said that he would come by her work, and you keep asking her to go out with him, and at first she was like, ew, no. And over the course of time, she reluctantly agreed to be with him. And that's what typically happens. Like, she did not recognize that was abuse, that she didn't recognize that his behavior was harassment. She was kind of, what is coerced the right word? She was coerced into a relationship. Over time, he wore her down, and her defenses. He ignored the fact that she was repulsed by him, and just to get, for his satisfaction, to get what he wants. And if we all look at it from that perspective, we can see that that behavior sounds kind of like what a predator would do, or somebody who assaults women. That is that same type of mentality, but it's not outright and aggressive. It's not as vulgar or violent as the act which I'm talking about, but it's a similar mindset. It's where you do not value that person enough to accept their rejection, and you think, and that the harasser thinks too much of themselves to where maybe they think that they're God's gift to women or to whomever, that nobody could possibly reject me. They must not be thinking clearly. Instead of, moving on like a person who's more resilient, the harasser gets stuck on, bringing you down, or you're like you become their goal and their target. And so for me, now that I recognize that an overly persistent man is, that's a form of harassment, I'm not gonna, tolerate that behavior anymore. Like, I need to shut it down when I see it, because now I can recognize that behavior. And I'm not afraid to get, loud or cause a scene, but that's just me. I'm not recommending that that is what you do. I'm not recommending that. But yes, please just recognize this behavior and get yourself to safety. If there's somebody in, in your world that does not accept the word no, because that is sexual harassment. That is a form of harassment, depending on the situation. But yes. All right, ladies, don't be conditioned to accept these types of behaviors from men. These behaviors are not acceptable. And, men or anyone does not have the right to change your mind. If you say no, it means no. Point, but that's the end of it. It means no, period. No. All right, so thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to make that very clear. And thank you guys. Take care.